What's going on, people? Welcome back to the United Stand. We are here for your countdown to kick-off. Manchester United are playing West Ham. It's an 8 p.m. kick-off. It's a gloomy day at Old Trafford, but that hopes, in my opinion, for a great game of football. You know, it's Forever Dreams. It's one of those places you don't want to go at 8 p.m. midweek game. It's going to be crazy. But look, I'm not here by myself. I've got an amazing guest next to me. I've got Kev, who's going to be in the studio. But I want you guys to stay very interactive in this show. We've got so many things coming up. We've got the lineup, as you guys know, the lineup is going to be super interesting. What is Amorim going to pick? Who's he going to start? Is he going to start Cunha? Is he going to start Lenny Yoro? We're going to go through all of that. We're going to go through our tactics board. You guys know I like to do my little tactics board part of the show, and we're going to try and predict the XI. We've got an amazing West Ham fan on the show as well, Frankie from Hammers TV, so make sure for that. And we've got a few VTs. We went down to Old Trafford and we spoke to some fans and asked them their opinions on all the conversations and topics that are around Manchester United. So make sure you sit down, make sure you enjoy your show, because it's going to be an amazing show, and stay positive in the chat, because we want United to win this game. We want to be back to great football, and we want to, you know, continue to try and progress and become the United that we know from the past. So into the show, Kev, how are you feeling? Like I said, it's a gloomy day outside, but in the studio, we're feeling good, right? I
must say that the fact, I don't think anyone's ever introduced me as amazing. So, Mordzs, I will take that one.
Come on, it's Kev from United Stand. It's fan I have to.
Yeah. And obviously, yes, I am filling in for Beth, who can't be here with us today. Sounds quite morbid, that. Nothing bad's happened. I was getting to it. She's obviously not well.
Yeah, Beth is she's feeling a bit poorly, as we do. Like I said, it's cold outside. Sometimes you're going to get a bit ill. So make sure you put in the chat, actually, get well soon, Beth, because she's probably going to be watching this. I'm sure she is. So put get well soon, Beth, in the chat. So don't worry, she'll be back for Monday. You know, it won't be that long. So she'll be back for Monday's game. But Kev, you're in the studio. I can't remember last time I was asking before. When was the last time you was on a countdown to kick-off?
Countdown to kick-off was Grimsby. So I know everybody's watching and going, oh, bloody hell, Kev's cursed it in. The last time, I'm pretty sure, was Grimsby. That awful night in the Carabao Cup. So, I mean, I'm just hoping and praying that this evening, Mr. Goldbridge is not ranting and raving, saying, bloody Prats. You know, I want get in. Yeah. I want to be shouting that 2 or 3 times at least this evening. But no, I'm confident. I mean, I've been working today, made me wait at the studio. I was a little late, but I was
you were on time. I would give it you. You said you were going to be at 5:30. It was about 5:15 you got here.
Yeah, I was probably early then, wasn't I? Yeah, so
it was early.
Bad, but no, I come in and look at this bad boy.
No, honestly, I mean, we don't do a promo this quickly into the show, but I mean, Kevin's got the new Christmas jumper on. If you can see it, I mean, I think you're the first person to wear it on an actual count to kick off. So you know what? Yeah, just to be fair.
It is December as well. I would say it's quite early, but we're in the festive season.
Yeah.
And the fact that they said if you wear it, we'll give it you for free. So I love free stuff. I was like, I'm having it, man.
But in terms of football, though, I mean, how are you feeling? I mean, the last game, Crystal Palace, we did obviously get the win, but it was a game of 2 halves. You know, first half, it looked like United were a bit shaky. Crystal Palace probably had the advantage over us. It kind of looked like in the first half the game might have been done. You know, after that penalty that Yoro gave, and the fact that he scored it twice as well, it was like, you know what, fair enough, they are going to score. But second half, he seemed to kind of have a little bit of a rejuvenation. Xerxes kind of switched it on, got a goal for us, and we didn't end up going on to win that game. But, you know, how did you feel about that game?
Yeah, just, listen, the Everton game before that, I mean, that was a total disaster class, if that's even a word or a thing, but it was a nightmare. And I think it's been typical of United's season, you know, so far this season, that we've managed to get results against the likes of Chelsea and Liverpool, kind of respectively, and in the so-called lesser games, shall we say, we have struggled. And there is something in that. Against Everton, we did struggle, teams that come and defend, and that's what I do kind of worry about this evening. But the Crystal Palace one, I've heard a lot of fans going on and saying it's a fact that Crystal Palace played on the Thursday night and then it was the early game of the weekend. And then I think, you know, well, what's our excuse, man? Because we're not in Europe. It's like,
we haven't played in Europe all season.
We're putting in them kind of performances like every other week, and it's like, really, we should be at the races. We've only got that competition really until the FA Cup kicks back in. But I am happy. I think expectation levels rose after beating Liverpool, winning them 3 games, and then to draw against Forest and Tottenham. And people looked at that and quite negatively. Yeah, if you'd have said before that, the kind of total points, what would you accept from that? I think it was just the fact that we won the games before it, and then didn't get the maximum points from the other ones. But if you'd have flipped it and said, all right, we beat Forest, we beat Tottenham, but we drew at Anfield, and let's say we drew with Chelsea at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
On reflection, you're looking and going,
it's not terrible.
Making steps, and there's a bit of progress in there. So I think people need to be, just calm down a bit. That's what I would say.
calm down a little bit from Kev. No, look, I agree in a sense of, like, I think those last 5 results, that period anyway, of those, the 3 wins and the 2 draws, it looked positive. And I'll be honest, going into the Everton game, I thought it should have been an easy win. But that's the thing with United.
That's the thing with this team, man. It lets you down.
What does that even mean? What is an easy win? Forget that. What is an easy win in the Premier League? Because let's be honest, look at the other teams around us.
Every game's difficult.
Chelsea losing to Leeds. City is struggling. I mean, they're playing well, but somehow they're conceding goals quickly. I've said it before, the only team that I'd be surprised at if they lose a game is Arsenal. Every other team in the Premier League so far this season, I feel like they can lose on any given week to anyone. It doesn't matter.
And if Arsenal don't win it this season, they are absolutely pathetic.
Say it again.
They're absolutely pathetic because it's just opened up. Nobody else kind of wants to win it. City look a bit interested, like they can push them, but
I think Pep's just thinking, you know what, I'm only here for a couple more years. Them charges might come in soon, so I don't even want to act like I'm trying too much so I can get out quickly. Allegedly. Yeah,
we must say that. Disclaimer.
But look, talking about obviously the game today, I mean, I've got some stats here for you.
Yeah.
And I want to know if these make you any more or less confident.
I like a good stat. Fire one in.
I love a decent stat that makes sense.
Not a daft one.
Yeah. So in the last 8 games, United have a 16% higher goal average than compared to last season. So just before the 5-game streak, we're scoring a lot more goals than it was last season. But also, in terms of clean sheets, we're 8% lower than the league average. We're 18th in the league for clean sheets.
I was going to say that. When you said the first bit of it, I was going to say the issue this season hasn't been scoring goals. We are scoring. We didn't score against Everton, but when we do score, we have been scoring 2s and 3s, and it's been great to watch. My one that I was going to look at and say is conceding goals, and that's where the issue has come. And you would think in this system, with 3 at the back, your wing backs that fall in and people look at it as a back 5, that you've got the protection there, really, that you should not be leaking goals like that. And it is a concern. It's a concern that I'm sure Ruben Amorim doesn't set his team up and say, listen, lads, get out there and make it interesting. You don't want to be conceding goals.
Yeah. You know what I think sometimes? I think as a footballer, like how you get goal bonuses? Did they not get clean sheet bonuses?
They should do.
I feel like I'm pretty sure they do get a clean sheet bonus. Surely, is that not an incentive to go out there and think, you know what, even if we don't win the game, I want to have at least a clean sheet, minimum.
Depends what it is, though. If it's like 50 quid or something.
I'm sure it's more than 50. Come on, if I give them like 10 grand.
50 quid if you get a clean sheet. What's that to me?
You'd think that there's an incentive there, even if you don't, even if you're not up to, to win the game, a clean sheet means you draw at least. You know what I mean? So that should be your main. Ricky says it all the time. The main priority should be not conceding, because at least then you get 1 point, at least. And then if you go and score more goals than them, you will obviously win the game. But get a clean sheet and you've done the bare minimum.
And staying on topic with that, that's why I've always said that contracts should be incentive-based. You've just said it there. If you had a flat rate, that you got, and it was then built up of bonuses if the team wins, if you score, if you assist, whatever it is, and then it was made up. I think you see a lot of these footballers, not like that other Monday night against Everton, where they were all like just walking around the pitch. They'd suddenly up their levels. Yeah,
definitely. Look, guys, make sure you send in your super chats for today's show. Any topics that you want to bring in throughout the show, or any debates, or any opinions that you have, send them in through your super chats, because we're going to talk about them regardless of what point in the show. We're going to talk about them and we're going to discuss them. So there is a super chat in here from Stephen Willock. Says, need more of Kev on the channel. He's great.
There's my burner account. Thanks, Mum.
Kev started blushing there.
Yeah, thank you.
But look, I mean, there's a few more things I kind of want to touch on before we move on to the next part of the show. And one thing is Mainoo. And this is a conversation that's been going on around a lot. And I want to kind of touch on it early on in the show. He did seem a little bit upset in the Crystal Palace game, getting them, what do we call it, pity minutes? Some people are calling it Kobe minutes now. You get when you
that's
get
actually a thing.
When you get a little 5 minutes at the end of the game, we're going to call it Cobby minutes. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Do you feel like it's a fair way of analysing how his season's going by looking at his minutes, or do you feel like he kind of deserves the amount of minutes he's been getting?
I really don't understand. I don't see a clear pathway for Mainoo. And at the same time, when we've got a midfield that's as bad as ours, and it is bad, it's patched up, it's, forget like, what do you call it, sort of addressing the structural damage or whatever. It's literally, let's put some wallpaper over it and let's get away with it until maybe January or the summer when we can get our top target. I absolutely adore Cobby Mainoo. From what I've seen of him and when he was given his opportunities, I don't see that he's ever let us down. But at this moment in time, any United fan to challenge me to say that Cobby Mainoo, if you're getting 3 minutes at the end of a game, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
The only way that he can show Amorim his attributes is basically to be playing and getting decent game time, not 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. And the manager, I've listened to the manager's press conference, and he was asked about Mainoo, and he's coming out and saying stuff like he trains really well, and I'm thinking and he's kind of pitted him against Bruno, hasn't he? In the past, he's come out and said, well, he's up against Bruno, and then you look at that and think, well, how's that going to work out? You know what I mean? Bruno could be injured,
play for it.
Yeah, and it seems like he's always going to play.
Yeah.
So I do think it's a bit unfair, and at the same time, if you're not going to give him game time, then it does come down to #free Cobby Mainoo, because he wanted to go in the summer. He didn't want to leave permanently. It's a World Cup year.
Yeah.
He wanted to go somewhere on loan, whether it be Brighton or somewhere. It would have been a fantastic move for him. So why has the club been so afraid to do that and held him back as it's a massive year for him? And you've seen him make his debut for England. He was man of the match for that, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Anytime he's played for England, he does not look out of place. So for me, it's a bit of a head scratcher.
Yeah. Someone put a super chat in here that made me laugh. Someone said Bruno's the second choice goalkeeper at this point. Like, Bruno plays regardless. Wherever he wants to play, right back, left back, centre back, he's going to get into the team. Wherever it is, he's going to get into the team. So to say that he's, if you want to get in a team, you have to be above Bruno. You pretty much just say, just leave the club. You pretty much ask him to leave the club, because you're never going to get the opportunity to be above Bruno. Fit. Yeah.
He is. I'm not saying that's a thing why he should play every week, but I heard something the other day. I mean, Luke Shaw's just made, 300 appearances in 11 years.
Yeah.
I think Bruno Fernandes has made more than that in like half that time.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. And when you look at it like that, I think that it's quite incredible. He is like powered by Duracell, isn't he? Bruno. He never gets injured, and he just runs and runs and runs.
End of the day, look, the best ability is availability. If you have a player that's got leaps and bounds of talent, but they can play 15 games a season, what's the point? It's like Mason Mount. I think Mason Mount's got a great ability. How much has he been available for us since he's been here? He's been here, 3 years now? And this is probably the first season where we can say we've actually seen a regular Mason Mount. And he's even been injured this season already as well, so it kind of goes against him.
But it's like the game against Palace, isn't it? That's the first time in how long that Mason Mount's completed 90 minutes.
Crazy.
And we're getting excited about that. Mason Mount's played 90 minutes. He's just completed his first 90 minutes in like 50 years or whatever. You're like, great.
It's an achievement. But look, I kind of want to go through some of the last, head-to-head and some of the last 5 games, and they'll be on the screen as well for you to see them. So Manchester United versus West Ham. Our last 5 games. Now, I'll be honest, it's not great. I'm gonna just let you know from now.
Don't start telling me this now, Mords.
It's not great, but we have to go.
People are here for the vibes, man, and the feel-good factor on a match day.
Yeah, we want to have a clear view of what the last 5 games have looked like. The last game was a 2-0 loss. Last season, 11th of May 2025. The game before that was a 2-1 loss.
Can I just say that one last year, the 2025, was just before Christmas, wasn't it? Is that the Delip penalty where it was an
You're also thinking of the 2-1 loss.
Was it the 2-1?
The
Still fresh in my mind. I've not let that one go.
Yeah, that was
the penalty that shouldn't have been a penalty.
Yeah, maybe your memory's better than mine.
But still in there.
But so before the 2-1 loss, there was a 3-0 win. So we did win that game. And then before that, there was a 2-0 loss. And then before that was a 1-0 loss. So West Ham have had our number. West Ham, they know what they do and they know how to beat us. That's 4 of the last 5 games. It's not a great record. But even if it's the 4 last 5 games, I always think, you know what, United always have a chance. We always have a chance to beat anyone. I mean, people would have said the same thing about Liverpool playing at Anfield. I think we didn't win in the last 9 years at Anfield, and look what happened. We ended up
but you just said they know how to beat us. Yeah. I'd disagree with that and say I think Manchester United know how to beat themselves. Because there are games, aren't they, when we've looked and we've gone, what is going on here? You know, what's the plan? Why is nobody at the races? No, they're not singing from the same hymn sheet. But equally you can get a performance like against Chelsea or Liverpool where it kind of comes together. We rode our luck against Liverpool, don't get me wrong, but you still, you know, even if we'd have lost that game, they could have come off the pitch. And so one thing I always say as a United fan, I can accept getting beat as long as I can look and go, we were just beaten by the better team and we give it our all. It's when they walk off that pitch and you're kind of looking at them and got, you know, you're like, not good enough, man. You know, you didn't put a shift in. You don't deserve your wages and all that. But
yeah, I mean, look, there's one player that I feel like puts in a shift, and he could potentially be in this team today, Matheus Cunha. He is back available for today's game. Yeah. And before we even talk about Cunha, I went down anyway, to Old Trafford and spoke to a few fans on their opinion on Matheus Cunha.
If he's back fit, he missed the last 2 games, concussion. If he's back fit properly, he's making Bumo play better. Yeah. He's joy to watch, like. Hope he's playing, hope he's starting, like.
I think if he scores first, he scored 2.
Well, he's the one that drags the ball forward, so we need him.
Yeah, we can't play if he's not playing because we've got no creativity. It's flat. He's the energy, he's the driving force behind it.
Best player on the pitch.
Yeah, he's a good midfielder, so we need him back.
And what about Lenny Yoro as well? Another young player, great player in my eyes. What are your opinions on him as well?
Yeah, we need him because Luke Shaw wasn't great.
Are you going to play Mazraoui in a back 3? Euro was fantastic last year, and there's a big player there, but he's been poor this year. He was poor against Palace. He gave the penalty away, and he's poor in the game before as well. But there's a player there. He's what, 19 years old.
Euro, young player, decent centre half. Got De Ligt beside him. De Ligt played very well this season. Will keep him on his toes.
Euro needs time to build into it, and he can't do 3 at the back, in my opinion. Not in the Premiership.
Lenny Yoro is too young. Needs time to adapt into the team.
He's just brutal. He don't hold out of nothing. He's quick. He's strong.
De Ligt, he was our player of the month for November. Is he one of the best centre backs, not only in the team but in the Premier League you've seen this season?
Yes, but not in 3 at the back.
Okay, so your whole thing is 3 at the back, no?
No, it don't work.
Probably been United's best player this season, other than Bruno, who's just always our best player, but De Ligt's probably been the best player. I'd say De Ligt's been our best player this year. Like,
it's easy. Look what you're up against. You're up against Virgil van Dijk, and look at him. He's a wooden one. He's useless. So
he's rubbish, man.
Like,
rubbish.
I just think he's quality.
3 at the back done for the whole team. De Ligt is a unit. He's massive, one of the best in the league, but 3 at the back's not for him.
He's better than Van Dijk.
Yeah, that's what we like to hear. So, I mean, the last question I asked on there was about De Ligt, and we are going to go onto the tactics board section of this Countdown to Kickoff, where we are going to go through the plays. We're going to debate who we think is going to start. And remember, we're trying to get the predicted 11. We're trying to get who we think Amorim is going to pick. But the last question I asked was about De Ligt, and I asked, do you think he is one of the best centre-backs this season, because he was actually awarded our player of the month for November?
I think easily. I think in the fan base, I think there's a lot of people that sort of go on about him and don't get what he brings to the team. But I think in that 3, whoever you play with him, I think he's a kind of warrior, isn't it? I've gone on record as to say I think he's a future Manchester United captain. You know, he's been at big clubs. He's been at Bayern Munich, Juventus, Ajax. He was captain at Ajax at what age? 17. He was still a teenager. You know, it's quite impressive that. And I think whoever you put in next to him, he'll kind of guide him through the game. He's got great experience. I think a fantastic signing, and I can't understand why anyone would say that they don't kind of rate him.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree. I think he is one of, if not the first name on this team sheet, regardless of, people talk about systems, formations, 2 at the back, 3 at the back. He's in there regardless. 2 or 3 or 5, 6, 7. De Ligt is going to be one of the first players that you put on this team sheet. So look,
that's the focal point of that defence, isn't he, really?
100%. And like I said, was our player of the month last month, and to be fair, he could have been one of our players of the month for the past 2-3 months that we've been playing the season. So look, De Ligt is going to be in this team for both of us. Now let's go over to some of the other players that I feel like are assurance players that we know 100% are going to be in this team. The first one I want to talk about...
I was going to say, I don't think there's any chance that Amorim will be ringing up Banana this evening and say, we're cutting the loan, you're short,
Come
get
back.
on the plane. We've got West Ham to take care of. Lammens And Lamens has been fantastic. What has he lost? One game?
Lost one game.
Been in net.
Yeah,
So
and I don't blame him. I know people say he could have saved it, etc. Listen, Lamens has done all the basics correct, and that's the main thing that we needed from a goalkeeper. Yeah. Can you claim on corners? Can you keep the ball moving when we're passing around the back? Can you go long? Can you go short? Are you a shot stopper? You know, all these kind of things that we need from goalkeepers. We haven't had in the last 2 years.
He's everything. Nana wasn't. That's what he is.
He's
he keep the ball out the net, and that's all you need. You know, forget this. Can he play out from the back? He proved against Liverpool when we had to mix it up. Scousers going mad, weren't they? They were like, they were hitting long balls and all that. Forget about it, man. We did a job on you. Deal with it.
So, Seni Lamens in there. The next player that I'm going to talk about, again, another player who, in my opinion, has to start. I'm going to go over to your side, Kev. Bryan Mbeumo.
Oh, he's got to be in there, man.
He's got to be in there. I'm going to put him in straight away.
I will say, last couple of games, slight drop-off, I would say, by his standards, but at the same time,
I get what you mean. Yeah,
the whole team dropped off, so you can't blame Bryan for that.
No.
And early on in the season, Arsenal, when you think back to Arsenal, that was his debut. He looks like a player that's born to play for United, I'd say.
I love that. Born to play for United. And he's a United fan. Before he even came to the club, he said, look, I don't care who else wants me. I want United. And that's where he's going to go. And that's where he ended up coming. So that's probably one of the main reasons I actually do like him a lot, because you can tell he's not just here for money or just because we're a big club. He wants to be a part of Manchester United because that's the club that he supports. So Bryan Mbeumo into the team, the third player into this team. Now I'm going to go to the midfield because I feel like there's a couple players in there which, again, not really debatable.
It's different. If we were going to stand here and say, who would you put in, then that's a total different conversation. But for the sake of Ruben Roulette, I think this is the area of the pitch that very rarely gets touched, unless Bruno Fernandes was injured.
That is a conversation. I mean, if you don't know, Amorim did say in his press conference there's two players with who are a doubt. We don't know what the doubt is. We don't know if it's a knock. We don't know if it's a serious injury. And we don't know who they are. But the only clue he gave us, you know, Amorim loves giving clues out for everything he says. The only clue he gave us was that the players, depending on who they are and depending on whether or not they can play, will change the way how he sets up. So they are going to be important players. They're not just going to be a substitute. It's going to be players that make a difference in this team. So I'm just going to assume that, you know, the players that are fit because he hasn't said anyone's name. So Bruno Fernandes, for me, is going to go straight into this team.
It could just be a bit of witchcraft. Could be a bit of
mind games.
That's the one. That's the word I was looking for. Forget that witchcraft stuff. That's a different thing altogether.
A bit extreme.
Yeah, mind games. That's the one.
But talk about Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro. That partnership. Is this the best midfield partnership for you?
Not for me personally, but Casemiro, the resurrection of Casemiro, should I say. Considering the way that he was, again, when you look at, you're speaking to other fans, he's washed up, his legs are gone, you know, Madrid sold us a dud, this, that. We did pay a lot of money for him, and when we first signed him, yes, you know, a lot of people, me for one, I was buzzing. I'm like, we've signed one of the best in the business but
past generation.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, you couldn't have really seen that kind of drop off. We should have really. Yeah. It's just typical United. You get all sort of giddy and you're thinking, shiny new toy. We've got without actually assessing the kind of longevity of that role. It wasn't a Caicedo or somebody like, you know,
a good age.
Yeah, exactly. It was somebody whose better days were behind him, you know, and he's quick to tell us about the 5 Champions Leagues he's won and all the trophies. Fair enough, man, but you know.
I would do the same thing. If I had 5 Champions Leagues, I'm not letting anyone forget that. But you know what? It's a good point though, because you look at the other, I guess, top teams in the Premier League. I say top teams. We mentioned before, it's only really Arsenal, but look at some of the better teams in the Premier League. They've got established, stapled midfielders that are considered the best in their position. Caicedo for Chelsea, Rodri for City, Declan Rice for Arsenal, and even like Bruno Guimaraes for Newcastle. Like these teams, they've got players, they've got midfielders in there which are considered the best in their position, especially in the Premier League, if not the world. So we don't have that. Bruno Fernandes is one of the best players, but not in this position. I don't think anyone would say he's one of the best 6s or 8s in the league or in the world. So
and that's where Amorim's kind of giving himself a bit of a headache, because Bryan Mbeumo, a fantastic signing, but first through the door was obviously Cunha.
Yeah.
Now, when you spend that kind of money on 2 number 10s, you would really think that they're going to be the 2 number 10s that are going to be starting, which kind of pushed Bruno back into this. And this is where we're back at shoehorning, aren't we? It's almost like, well, Bruno's the captain, he has to play. So you're like, well, you know, for the sake of the team, really, you should be one of the 10s. But listen, we're getting away with it, kind of, playing in their voice. It's not great to watch. I think against better teams, like Manchester City, when Bruno Fernandes was come out in an interview after it and said we were getting overrun because you had the 2. City, you know, Pep Guardiola seen that and identified it and said overrun him in midfield and it's easy. And that's where Amorim needs to earn his coin and probably, you know, he needs to adapt. And that's probably where the Mason Mount thing comes in because he drops into the midfield. It's one of the 10s have to be dropping in to make the numbers up in that midfield. Otherwise, these 2 are isolated, particularly Casemiro, who's had loads of stick, but a lot of that does come from Bruno getting, you know, going into Superman mode, going action man, and Casemiro is left exposed.
I want to kind of touch just a little bit more on Bruno Fernandes. Now, last game, the stats that were flying all over social media, Bruno Fernandes overtaken Paul Scholes in the all-time United assist leaderboard. I think he has 56 now. Paul Scholes got 55. People are obviously talking about his 2 assists against Crystal Palace. One of them was a set piece. Yeah, one of them was a set piece, and the second one, what was the second one again? There was a set piece for so you rolled it to Mason Mount. They were both set pieces.
That triggered Ricky that much.
But they were both set pieces. But I mean, and for me, this is why stats they don't really tell the full story. Because somebody will say to me, "Oh, how can you say Bruno Fernandes doesn't work when he got 2 assists?" None of the assists had anything to do with him being a midfielder. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's why I always say when you're using a stat.
That's why when you said earlier, I said, let me hear the stat first. Because if you're talking about assists, if I'm the goalkeeper and I'm at Barcelona and I roll the ball out to Yamal, and he's at left back, and he runs up the pitch, takes on 10 players and scores, I'd be able to go home and say, Mum, I got an assist tonight. You know, and that's how mental it is, even though he's took on 10 players, run the whole length of the pitch, smashed it in the top corner. But it will actually go down that I'm the last person that, you know, that gave that ball to Yamal. So it is crazy. And you can manipulate stats however you want.
Any way you want to make it suit your agenda.
I'd love that stat. I'd say I got an assist.
All right, but let's move on to some of the other plays now. There is more of a debate now. The next player I want to go on to, we kind of mentioned him a little bit before, but Lenny Yoro, there has been a few difficulties in the past couple games that he's had. In my opinion, nothing to really worry about too much. I know there's some people out there saying, oh, he's not good enough, etc. Amorim did speak about him in his press conference and said that he understands that he's struggling, but it's not something that he's taken too serious. He knows the play that he's got, he knows the potential that he's got. But sometimes when, you know, at that age, 19, 20 years old, it can get a lot for you. So in your opinion, does Lenny Yoro start today, or would you give him a little bit of a break, some breathing room, and put Mazraoui into that position?
I think the best thing he could do with Yoro today is start him. It definitely wouldn't be, because I think if he's on the bench, the headline will be that he's been dropped. So I would start him. He's still a young kid. I think Amorim definitely knows what he can bring to the team. And I think unfairly, a lot of people have jumped on him. You have to remember he's young, big price tag, but at the same time, that's not his fault, the price tag. But we've got like you could say potentially a world-class centre-back kind of in the making, but it depends how he develops. Yeah, I
mean, look, we're going to put a poll on. We should have a poll on that already, actually. Do you want to see Lenny Yoro start at right side of centre-back, Lenny Yoro or Mazraoui? Get voting. We're going to come back to that in a couple minutes, so we want you guys to vote, and we will, whoever you guys choose will be who we're going to put in this team. So before we even put a name down there, the left-hand side, is that a position that you feel like actually there isn't much of a debate there, or is Martinez creeping into the conversations now?
I'd say it's a bit too early for Martinez. Obviously, he got minutes in the last game at Crystal Palace. I wouldn't risk starting him, because at the end of the day, you don't need to throw out a token gesture and say, Martinez, we're going to start you in this game, because if it does go horribly wrong, you know, that one's really on the manager. If he's well off it, and West Ham go 2-0 up, let's say, and we're looking at it, it will be on the fan forum later on, we'll be saying, why did he start Martinez? He's clearly not fit, you know, and all this. But in that left hand role, it's going to be Ricky's love child,
Ricky's
shall we
son,
say.
probably.
It's the world class Centre-back.
It's fair. Ricky
is
was
that
the
what
only.
Ruben Amorim
He's not the only one who said it. Ruben Amorim has said it, but I think it was Dennis Irwin who said it recently.
He's right.
Dennis Irwin said it. So
I think we have different sort of ideas on what. I would always say that world class is a player that walks into any other team.
Okay.
And for me, Luke Shaw doesn't.
That's a
but
fair,
I'm not saying he's having a good season.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
Would he walk in, I don't know, Manchester City, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich? I don't think he would. And Ricky would probably say...
That's a good point, you know. That's actually a good point, yeah.
That's how I've always kind of defined world class, is that you're that good that any team, you better walk into any team.
Yeah. Or it'll at least be a conversation. They might have another world-class player there, but it's still a debate. Yeah.
It's the word, or that term world class, it's used far too often. You know, I've heard it about players at United before where I'm thinking, really? Seriously?
They're just good.
You know, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They're just good.
You know, they could be very good, but they're not world class.
Yeah, so moving on, another player that probably is going to be a starting player in this team, a player that a lot of us like, a lot of us are fond of, Amad Diallo. Now, the conversation really isn't about if he's going to play. Are you starting him at right wing back, or are you doing what Amorim's done in the past, or some previous games, and you're going to push him up into that left side position?
I think with the decision, without spoiling it, obviously, what's going to be going on this side of the pitch, Amad playing with Mbeumo on that side, I think that is a really sort of interesting partnership. And I look at that and I think it's something to be worked on. And I said it on the fan forum the other week, the fact that he kind of broke that up, and Amad went in the 10, or Mbeumo, he swapped him over to the other side, and Amad's on this side, and I'm kind of looking and thinking, give this a chance on this side. The only way you're going to get partnerships, the same, get a settle back free if you're going to do that. But these two on this side can cause damage to anyone. And Mbeumo and Amad are probably in that team. I'd say football intelligence-wise, creativity-wise, you can get a lot of joy down here. And I bet statistically, whenever they've played and you've looked at the joy that we've got down this side, compared to once you get your heat maps out, if you like your heat maps, I bet it was basically down this side, where the threat was coming from. Yeah,
very, very, very good point. So Amad Diallo gets into this team. Now I want to go back to the poll. The poll was about Lenny Yoro. We're going to go back and we're going to see what you guys have said. So the poll on YouTube for who should start at right-sided centre-back, Lenny Yoro or Mazraoui, is 58% Lenny Yoro and 42% Mazraoui.
And I'm not discarding Mazraoui one bit, because I do really like him, and I do think that is probably his best position at Manchester United. The one thing I would say is, because he gave the penalty away, Yoro, against Crystal Palace, he's a young lad. I think he can make amends for that this evening. You know, he could have very easily, if we hadn't scored that second goal, if we'd have lost that game, he'd have been made the scapegoat, and we know how hard that is at United. I would like to think that Yoro, as a footballer, will have, Amorim surely asked a question, mentality-wise, are you right for this tonight? And
I'm sure he would have said yes to that.
That's the response you want to see, especially from a young player as well. Because, like I said, if he leaves him out, the headline is Yoro dropped straight away this evening. Yoro's been dropped to the bench.
I 100% agree. I think as a young player, you want a player who, yes, he understands the position in his career that he's at. He knows that he's one of the younger players in the team. He knows that he's got a lot to learn. But I want him to fight for it. I want him to say, you know what, I've had a few difficult games, boss, but I'm ready to go. I'm not scared. I'm not nervous. I'm confident. I know what I can do, and I know that I can put in a good performance. Then it's up to the manager to say, you know what, it's my decision. I want to give you a few minutes out. Sit on the bench for today's game. You can come on after 60 minutes. But I want to see Lenny Yoro pretty much say to him, I know it's been difficult, but boss, I'm ready to go. And that's what we want to see. So if he does start today,
that's the reaction you want.
I want to see, first of all, I want to see from the fan base to at least give him some encouragement, because I know a lot of people are quick to judge and quick to put some players down, but I feel like with a player like Lenny Yoro, we need to be behind him as a fan base.
Well,
we need to give him encouragement.
Quite easily, listen, if Ruben Roulette, he spins that wheel this evening and he does decide that Mazraoui's there, Mazraoui, De Ligt and Luke Shaw as the kind of free centre-backs, I'd have no issue with.
Yeah. Now, moving on to the other side, I'm going to go through this one maybe a little bit quicker. Who are you putting in, Diallo or Dorgu?
I think for me at this moment in time...
And based on who you think is going to actually start?
Who I would personally...
No. Who you think is going to start?
I think it will be Diallo.
You think it will be Diallo?
Yeah.
Considering what happened last game, is that or just in general?
Yeah, no, I don't know what it is with... I mean, Dallow's in that kind of club at the minute where he's been at United a long time in comparison to a lot of these players.
Yes.
And I think he's going to come to a bit of I think he should have already come to that crossroads, really. But I do think at the end of this season, these are going to be the two positions that you really need to nail in, and they're so pivotal to the way. That is your width, isn't it?
Yeah.
And is anyone going to say that Dalot is going to give you that width? I just think he's reliable in a sense, but at the same time, I think we could get so much better on that side of player. Is Dorgu the answer? I am really...
Not right now, but...
I'm kind of on the fence with Dorgu at the minute.
Yeah.
Again, I will give any player time because he's young, he's come in. Amorim's bought him as well, you know, so I'm like, well, he must have identified him for the system.
Yeah.
But performance-wise, I don't know whether he's just trying too hard or he can't settle, but it's uneasy to watch sometimes, a bit, you know, like...
I think this is going to be a debate until the end of the season, pretty much, who starts in that left wing back position. But look, moving on to the last two positions, and before we even talk about it, I want to do a quick poll. I'm going to put 3 names in the poll: Xerxes, Mount and Cunha. All 3 of those names, and vote who you want to see start in one of those 2 positions. And based on the 2 highest, 2 most voted players will be the 2 players that I put in the team. But Xerxes, I feel like, had a little bit of a rejuvenation after his goal against Crystal Palace. We saw, I'm going to say, the Xerxes from last season, the Xerxes that was pretty much starting, if not all of our games before he got injured. And I think he's really really came into life after that goal. But then you've got to look at Mason Mount, who, in my opinion as well, I feel like he's been a very good player for us, aside from his injuries. I feel like there's never been a game where I looked at Mason Mount and thought he's not ready or he's not good enough to play for United. I feel like he's always been ready when his opportunities come. And then you look at Cunha, who's been injured the last couple of games, and it's almost felt like we've missed him. We've missed something in Cunha. We've missed his aggression, his passion. I don't think if Cunha was played in that Everton game that it would have been as bad. I think Cunha would have made everyone think, oh, we need to step up our game and get this win.
He's a warrior,
He's a warrior.
He's tenacious. And when you've got Mbeumo and Cunha in that same area of the pitch, it makes the dynamics of it totally different. And that's why I was surprised that we brought the 2 of them in the summer, because I thought this is the area we needed to invest in, really. You could have got away with Bruno and Ahmad as the 10s for this season, no problem at all. That's not saying that I didn't want Mbeumo coming into the team, but Xerxes, what's the poll you're running?
All 3 of the players.
All 3 of them.
All three of the players. So Xerxes, Mount and Cunha. So, I mean, look, I'm going to give you guys about 30 more seconds to go and vote on that poll. And the 2 players who voted the highest are going to be. So, I mean, so in your opinion, I want your opinion straight away. 2 players that you're going to put in there.
For me, it would be Mount and Xerxes.
Mount and Xerxes, okay.
Xerxes, I'm not going to call it redemption or whatever. The goal that he did score against Palace was absolutely fantastic. I'm still not sold on him. I believe that Amorim doesn't actually fancy him that much, but I will say an old saying that if it's not broke, don't fix it. And for me, in this area of the pitch, I think on the previous performance, they deserve to go in today. But I think there definitely is an argument, Cunha to come in. For me personally, if I'm Ruben Amorim, I'm holding Cunha back on the bench, because of one thing against Crystal Palace, when I looked at that bench, I thought, we're in trouble here.
Not lot to bring
what
on.
Are we doing?
Yeah.
You know, are we bringing Ugarte on? Are we bringing whoever? What was it, Dorgu on the bench? And I'm thinking there wasn't really options, so at least that would give it you.
Okay, sweet. So the poll is done. The 2 players that are going to be into this team, and bear in mind this is what we think Amorim's going to pick, is 40% have said Cunha, and 37% have said Xerxes, and 23% have said Mount. So we're going Cunha in this position right here in the left 10 position. Oh. Let me do that again.
Joint effort this with the United Stand community.
Let me do that again, guys. Look, I don't know if you see the technology right now. I'm just swiping and it's coming off. But I'm going to put Cunha in here and Joshua Xerxes
at the top of the tree
as our striker. So this is our predicted 11. Let us know in the chat right now any changes that you would make into this team. I'm pretty happy with it.
Interesting to see now, obviously, when Amorim does give us the team news as to how close we are. Have you only got it right once, have you?
We only got it twice, actually.
Twice?
Yeah.
Previous history. Just shows how difficult it is.
So, guys, the team news is going to be out in 5 minutes, so make sure you're staying tuned for the next 5 minutes. If you do want to go toilet quickly, do it very, very quickly, because make sure you're back in the 5 minutes so we can give you guys the team news. But before we even get in that, we have a show called Hot Takes. Kev, you know about the Hot Takes show, right?
Mordzs, how long have I been on this channel?
My bad,
Yeah,
sorry.
I know hot takes. yeah, of course I do, man.
Kev knows the hot takes, and if Kev knows, that means you guys should definitely know what the hot takes. We put it out every single week, and it is your most wildest but honest opinion. And one of our best hot takes that I've seen recently was about Amorim, and here's what he had to say.
Well, the first hot take is that Ruben Amorim has no plan B and he won't admit it.
I agree. I agree to a sense. I think, look, we've seen it in multiple games. It wasn't just the Everton game. That's not the first time we saw Ruben Amorim struggle. Or not like struggle, but let's say refuse to change the way we plays. But we've seen it numerous times where we come up against opposition where we should be taking advantage based on the way they play, based on the circumstances in the game, like a red card, and all these different things. But Ruben Amorim consistently just refuses to change the way he plays, or even like a systematic change or formation change. He only wants to play the way how he plays. And I've said it so many times, Ruben Amorim would rather lose his way than change it and win. And I think that's a terrible way of being a manager. I think we want a manager who will win at all costs. He would risk everything, risk the way he plays just to get a win at the end of the day. Someone like Jose Mourinho, he will do anything to win. But with Ruben Amorim, he only wants to win if it's his way, and he doesn't want to have a plan B.
There was someone that said, and I had to bring it into the show, that Manchester United fans got frustrated with Ten Hag ditching the Ajax way of play to accommodate the players because the players couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And he wanted to play to the best of the players' ability. And he constantly got questioned why we're not seeing a style of play that you played at Ajax. And he said, well, I'm adapting to the players I've got. And now people are annoyed at Amorim not adapting and sticking to his way.
It's a balance, though. You have to do both.
It is,
you got to be able to adapt to what you have, but you also have to have some kind of style of play that you can bring into this team. Ten Hag couldn't do, or he tried to do one, but he didn't go back to trying to bring a style of play, and Amorim's doing a complete opposite, sticking to his style of play and not trying to adapt. So there's no balance between both managers. Okay, Kev, I mean, look, the hot take was about Amorim not having a plan B, and he won't admit it. Now, look, we've got about 2 minutes till team news, but quickly, what are your thoughts on that? Do you agree with that hot take, or are you disagreeing?
I would agree. I think fully agree with it. I mean, how many times have we kind of questioned this? And his plan B. We know what his plan B is. If he's available, it's the big man Harry Maguire, isn't it? Yeah. You know, if we're looking for a goal, he comes on. If he's in that team, he gets launched up the pitch at the final seconds of the game, final minutes. And it's dug us out of jail a couple of times, but it's not sustainable. If you're a big club like Manchester United, should we really be what other top club in Europe? And I know we're not in Europe before anybody starts, but you know, any top team does not resort to this. So why should United be doing it? But I do believe he's not got a plan B. You know, against Everton, he had an opportunity there when a sending off in, 13 minutes into that game. Yeah. That's where you change it up. You know, game plan, instruction. There was no need to have so many defenders on the pitch for so long when we really should have took the game to Everton.
100%. I mean, I agree with all the points you just made. I mean, I just spoke about it then, but yeah, I think Amorim needs to find a way to really find that plan B, find a plan C even.
It's not ripping up his system.
Yeah.
You know, I do think he gets very defensive when the media question it, and this system won't work in the Premier League. And yes, Conte won the Premier League with Chelsea with a similar kind of formation, but nobody else has ever done it from football changes and that. I do believe it can work. I've always said you need the right personnel to kind of play in it, but at the same time, there has to be a plan B, like the hot take says.
100% has to be a plan B. So guys, look, we've got some more super chats in. Like I said, I'm remind you guys again, send in all of your super chats so we can discuss them on the show, and I can read them out. So I can't say plan B. Super chat from V United. What made West Ham unbeatable in the last 5 years? Honestly, I couldn't tell you. I don't know. We beat them one time, so they're not unbeatable, but they've just been really difficult. Another super chat from Saint Blanco says, we need both Bruno and Kobe for Champions League next season. Good point. I mean, if we are going to be in Europe, a lot more games, could be an extra 10, 15 games possibly. We are going to need some more players in there.
The concern is at the minute with Mainoo, it seems to be, I'm not going to use the word toxic, but the way that relationship is going, and again, I'm not, a thingy reader, a body language expert, but when you see Mainoo getting brought on for 3 minutes, it's almost like, you know, disrespecting him in a kind of way.
Team news is about to come out. I'm going to read this last super chat quickly from Mazra Rawi.
Of course he's in the chat.
He says, love seeing our tall, sophisticated boys, cheers, and of course, my handsome King Kev.
Thank you very much.
But, wow.
Is it a wow, wow, wee, wow?
It's a wow, wow, wee, wow. It is a wow, wee, wow. I'm just waiting for it to come through the whole team, just so I know exactly who's in it.
This will be interesting to see.
This is
in terms of the board that we just went up to the screen, how many we have.
Okay, so the team news is here. You ready?
I can tell by Mordzs' face that we've done bad.
So we haven't done that bad, to be fair. So in there is Senny Lamins, back three of Mazraoui, Aiden Heaven, and Luke Shaw.
Wow.
Yes. Wow. Two wing backs of Dalot and Ahmad. Two midfielders of Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes. The front three is Mbumo, Cunha, and Xerxes. So we are one away. We're one player away, and it's Aiden Heaven for De Ligt.
Yeah.
It's a big player to be out.
Euro.
Oh, we put Euro in. Oh, we did put Euro in. Yeah. So we are 2 players off. De Ligt's not on the bench, so he was definitely one of the players that, had a doubt.
Yeah. It wasn't mind games from Ruben Amorim.
No,
there was an injury.
Big. But I'm going to go through that team again. Sorry, I might have to clear my throat during that. So I'm going to say it one more time. Senny Lamins in net. A back three of Mazraoui, Aiden Heaven, and Luke Shaw. The two wing backs are Dalot and Ahmad. The two midfielders are Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes. The two tens is Mbumo and Cunha. And as a striker, we have Xerxes. De Ligt is not on the bench.
So Mount's not in the team?
Mount is not starting in this team.
Yeah, I wonder if he's one of the ones that's injured.
I'll look at the subs. When I get the subs through, I'll read them out. But I'll go through the West Ham team as well quickly.
Yes.
We've got Areola, Wan-Bissaka, Todibo, Mavropanos, Diouf, Potts, Magassa, Bowen, Souček, Fernandes, and Wilson. Callum Wilson up top. So that is the West Ham team for any people are interested in seeing that team. But I mean, straight away, instant reaction. I mean, first of all, we've got to talk about it. De Ligt out, Aiden Heaven in. Are you confident, Kev? What's going on? I am.
I'm more concerned about the De Ligt injury. Obviously, we don't know the extent of that at the moment. But if he's not in the actual match day squad, would suggest that it's going to be. Hopefully not too long, but it's such a busy sort of Christmas period. You look at that and think he's a player that we need in there. At the same time, I will actually say I really, really rate Aiden Heaven, and I've got no issue with him stepping in. Anytime that he's come in off the bench, I think he looks really assured. I went on record, didn't I, as to saying he reminds me of a young Rio Ferdinand. I kind of set myself up at that time, but I'll stick by that. I've seen attributes and the calmness of somebody so young in playing in that position. It's such a big position, and it's great. What is great is Manchester United was built on youth anyway, but to have the younger players coming through, at least you will know that they will give it their all. And what an audition for this is his opportunity. He could have been knocking on Amorim's door every single week saying, when can I play? When can I play? Yeah. And now with the De Ligt injury, this is his big opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. In my opinion, I don't actually think Aiden Heaven, the last few times that he has had a few opportunities to play, I don't think he's ever disappointed.
No.
He's actually played really well, and even when it's like a little cameo as a substitute, or last season when he got a few, some good minutes and he started a couple of games, I feel like I know I've been really impressed in what I've seen from Aiden Heaven, and I think this is one of them games where, look, not to say anything negative about West Ham's attack, but they haven't got the best attack in the league. They've not got world-class players in their attack. They've got Bowen, very good player, obviously Callum Wilson, good player as well, but I feel like Aiden Heaven, especially in a back three with two more experienced players next to him.
Protected, isn't it?
To protect him a little bit more. Let's say it was Euro next to him. There is a lot of youth then. I mean, Euro 19, 20 years old, Aiden Heaven 18, 19 years old, and then you've got Luke Shaw.
Well, it's Mazraoui, isn't it?
Mazraoui
and Luke Shaw either side of him.
That's what I'm saying. So it's a bit more experience next to him to give him a bit more protection. Now, yes, obviously, if Maguire was available, Maguire would have been the one to kind of replace De Ligt. But yeah, in my opinion, I'm happy with it, and I think he can do a really good job.
And the thing you have to look as well, we're coming into the month of December. You've got AFCON starting. We know that Mazraoui is going to be going. So, is it the 15th? I think they go 15th of December.
They go back, I think 6 days before the AFCON starts.
He's got like a couple of games really, and then he's going to be gone anyway. So I suppose it is a good opportunity to see, how Aiden Heaven comes through this game. But at the same time, totally agree in the fact that he's well. If he was in a 2, could be exposed a bit, but in a back three, you'd like to think that we've got enough really to shut the door on West Ham this evening.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a subs bench. You want to hear the subs?
Yeah.
So the subs bench is Bayandere in goal, Dorgu, Malacia. I said Bayandere in goal, Bayandere on the bench. Bayandere, Dorgu, Malacia, Martinez, Yoro, Mainoo, Mount, Ugarte, and Lacey.
Yeah.
So I mean, look. I mean, first of all, out of those players, who were the three that you think would come on?
I would probably, again, it depends how the game is going.
How the game's going, right?
If we're in a position where we're comfortable, which we very rarely are, then at least you can look to bring on Lisandro Martinez a kind of, again, get the minutes in. If we're behind and you're chasing the game, then you are looking probably at Mason Mount. And it's an interesting one as well with Mount. You know, for Cunha to come back into the team, I wouldn't say Mount's lost his place. It does. I'm a little bit sceptical where I
know
think
what you mean. Yeah.
He's played that 90 minutes and it's like...
And he's not starting again.
You know, has something been picked up on where they've gone, you are not 100% for this game?
I think it's a mixture of maybe that, but also Xerxes did pick up a lot of form at the end of that game, and it almost feels like, are you going to take Xerxes out now after he's just had a decent, let's say, second half of that game? And as well, Xerxes technically is our only striker. I know Xerxes kind of plays like a 9.5, 10, whatever you want to call it, but Xerxes is still our only striker. So if Cunha is going to come in to start the game, then only Mason Mount can come out. You know, he's the only player that can be replaced. So I do understand it from that point of view.
Could it be possible that Xerxes is going to be, you know, he was quick enough, wasn't he, when he come in to say, I'm not a striker, don't expect me to score goals. So I'm like, brilliant, what have we bought here, you know? And then, is it possible that Cunha could actually be that false nine, as people like to call it this evening, with Xerxes in his more preferred? I call it, he's kind of hiding a little there as well, you know. And I know he didn't want to build the pressure up on himself, but to suggest that goal scoring isn't your thing, he's shown at the weekend he can do it. I just think he's trying to take that kind of pressure off. And especially at a club like United. Yeah,
100%. And quickly, before we move on, we've got an amazing guest that's going to be talking to us in a few minutes. He's a West Ham fan from Hammers TV, and he's going to give us the complete lowdown on this West Ham team and also his opinion on United's team as well. But before we even get into that, there is a Q&A section in the chat. And what we're going to do basically is you guys put in any questions you want to have for me and Kev. And right at the end of the show, we're going to go through those questions. So make sure you put in your best questions that you want us to discuss right at the end of the show, and we will bring it up for you guys.
Keep it clean, man. You're opening yourself up here when I'm on here and messages start firing in. Okay, keep it clean, that's what I'll say.
Keep it clean, guys. Keep it clean, but make sure you're putting them into the question section, into that chat. So, look, quickly before I even want to go into this next section with our West Ham fan, Dalot over Dorgu. I mean, we mentioned it quickly over there, but I mean, touch on that. He is obviously starting. Do you feel like Dalot is the first choice left wing back in this team for Amorim?
Again, I go back to so many managers have just... I wouldn't say he's Mr. Reliable. I think he's Mr. Versatile. But I just think you know what you're going to get from him. At this moment in time, I think if you're going to say Dalot or Dorgu, I just think Dorgu's a little hit and miss, where, you know, it's such an important part of the pitch. I just think from Dalot, even though you know you're not going to get the attacking threat, hey, you get the long throws. Yeah. That's what you get.
Set pieces are important.
Yeah, in fact, I'll retract everything I've said. He's playing for the long throws. Because everyone's playing long throws these days, isn't it?
Part of football.
Stoke were doing this years ago.
Rory Delap.
Poor Tony Pulis got, you know, like dog's abuse for it. And now, because Arsenal do it and Brentford and everyone, it's like
he's ahead of his time.
The hipster kind of stuff to do, isn't it?
He was ahead of his time. But listen, guys, we've got an amazing fan, a West Ham fan, Frankie from Hammers TV. Frankie, how are you doing?
I am very well, thank you. How are you?
Good evening.
We're doing great. I mean, United playing West Ham. We looked at the past 5 results. I mean, you guys have beat us 4 out of the last 5 times. Does that give you a little bit more confidence going into this game?
Give me more confidence if I was there. I've actually got a 100% record when I go to Old Trafford.
Oh, is it?
But I'm not there tonight.
Oh. It's a good job you're not here then.
So that might give you a chance. But before the lineups came out, I really wasn't too sure how we was going to play this game, and it was making me very, very nervous. But since I've seen the lineups, I've grown in confidence a little bit.
Oh, I love that. So I don't love that actually, but I love the fact that you're confident anyway. But I want to talk a little bit about your manager, Nuno. New manager, obviously, this season. Did amazing with Forest last season, so it's almost a bit of a surprise. But I asked anyone last season, will Nuno still be in a job? They would have said 100% yes, and now he's ended up at West Ham somehow. So, I mean, for you, is he a manager that you've been impressed with so far? And what are the best things that you've probably seen about him?
It's been a bit up and down, to be perfectly honest. And at West Ham, I like to think we're all, well, some people think that we moan a lot, but actually, I think we're quite calculated with how we see things, and I think we tell it how it is. And he came in, I think it was the right manager at the right time for us. We needed someone. We were in an awful position. When you drop into that bottom three and you get, even winning 2 games, you're still not going to get you out of trouble. That's a terrible place to be. We've been there before. I've been there before as a West Ham fan. You just don't want to be in it. So we needed someone who was going to come in, shake things up, and a bit of a no-nonsense manager, to be honest. But I saw Nuno as a bit more refreshing than maybe going to a Dyche who was just going to be no football. To be honest, though, Nuno's gone that way at times. I mean, we got a great lead at Bournemouth the other week, and we didn't really deserve to be 2 goals in front, but Callum Wilson come alive, and we found ourselves 2 goals to the good. And second half, it was just anti-football. He just defended at all costs, every man behind the ball, took our striker off. We didn't even have a striker on the pitch, and we threw it away. And as soon as he made those changes, I think as West Ham fans, we said, well, how many are they going to score? It was, are they going to get enough to get the draw? Are they going to get enough to beat us? So it was frustrating. He has these little experiments that he does. They haven't worked so far. They've backfired every time he's tried them. We've then sort of gone on the turn a little bit. He's then found the solution. Unfortunately, with Paqueta's behaviour, that's put us into a situation where he's got to experiment again tonight. Yeah. Just fingers crossed this is one of these first experiments that he gets right this evening.
And quickly before I hand over to Kev to ask a couple more questions as well. You mentioned about how he likes to experiment. I'm sure you kind of know roughly the United's team and how we've gone this season. Do you feel like that could be an advantage against a team that, well, I say a manager that doesn't really like to experiment at all? You know, Amorim is a kind of manager who, whatever his plan A is, we spoke about it earlier on in the show, whatever his plan A is, that'll be plan A for the whole game. He won't change anything if he doesn't feel like he has to. But obviously you mentioned Nuno, he could take off your striker and play 10 men behind the ball and just defend. Do you feel like that could actually help you in this kind of game? Because you know that we're not going to change how we play.
Yeah, quite possibly. And it's certainly not a lineup that I predicted. We kind of sort of knew some players that were going to come in because of Paqueta not being available. But I didn't expect the lineup that we've got tonight. So I don't know whether Amorim's been able to prepare for what he's about to see. Because, look, that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to be any good with what we're going to be doing and that it's going to work and it's going to click on the night. But I didn't foresee it. So I'm guessing that Man United may not have foreseen it. So maybe there's something in there that we could throw a few surprises.
How do you actually see him setting up with the formation that he's playing there? Do you think he's coming to Old Trafford, and you wouldn't hold it against him? I mean, the amount of teams that come to Old Trafford and rock up over the years, it really isn't that fortress it used to be, and you've had good results there. But do you look at it and this evening and see it as a positive? From obviously hearing the team news, it seems like he's going there with a game plan. It's not to go in with a low block and kind of sit back.
Yeah, I expected 5 at the back, but he's not going to play that way. I think it's going to be...
We're playing that, it's all right. That's our game.
I think it's going to be more of a 4-2-3-1 formation, which we haven't, like I say, it's not something that we've been playing, it's not something we've been doing. So it's more positive than I thought it was going to be. And that's been our criticism. He's been a bit, especially against Liverpool last weekend, we know that they're not in good form. We know that and I think they showed that again last night, they're not a good Liverpool side. Yet we went out with zero ambition to try and take the game to them and try and put them on the back foot. We literally let them do everything that they would want to do and grow in confidence and get the goals. And to be honest, we was never in the game. So he's actually been more ambitious going to Old Trafford tonight. So I'm surprised and I'm glad to see it.
I mean, look, I don't want to put any downers or, be a bit negative, but you are very low in the league right now, 17th. This loss, I don't know exactly what, Leeds obviously did win against Chelsea. Wolves are probably never going to win a game, so you might be okay with them. But are you a bit worried about relegation?
Oh, very worried. As I said, I've been here before, and you can't relax because you think, oh, that's old saying, we're too good to go down. It's just not the case. And when Nuno came in, I really thought we'd kick on and we'd move our way out. We had 2 home games that we should have really picked up points in, and we didn't. The Brentford game, we just, again, rolled over and just didn't really show any ambition in. So it has been frustrating. And we feel like we've been on a bit of a better run, better form. And yet we're now adrift. And even if we win tonight, we're not going to be out of it. So you've got to get these points. I mean, a lot of West Ham fans are saying that this is borderline a must-win game. I think we've certainly got to get a point tonight. But if not, then... some people are seeing this as we've got to go to Old Trafford and get 3 points. So, not an easy thing to do. Yeah, I mean, you say that Everton did. Everton did just do that. I mean, look, I want to kind of touch on United a little bit. I'm sure I feel like everyone kind of just knows about United, what we're going through. But what about United do you feel like is a problem? Is it the manager? Is it the players, the ownership? From your point of view, where do you feel like the problem is for Man United? I see it quite simply, and to be honest, I hate having an opinion on other people's football clubs because unless you're the fan, you don't really know exactly what you're going.
Come on, we need to hear this. Tell us a few truths.
It's good to see an outside point of view, though, not from the United fan base, somebody who's not obviously a United fan as well. Yeah, absolutely, and we feel it because when we had Moyes and we was going on the turn a little bit about Moyes, people didn't understand it, but our form in the league was deteriorating all the time, and we could see that we could end up in the position that we're in now. We had an ageing squad. We had the second oldest squad in the league, and there were obvious problems that weren't being addressed by David Moyes. So that's kind of why we sort of had the frustrations. But everyone else, be careful what you wish for, this, that, and the other. From my perspective, from the outside in, I just feel like it's been poor manager choices for the football club. I just see Manchester United, and the Manchester United I knew growing up, I remember it to this day in complete vivid, I can still see it now, of the 99 Champions League final. I remember watching it. I remember phoning my mate up afterwards and, just he was celebrating, and it was, Man United was such an amazing football club, and you deserve a manager that's as big as the football club. And when you're signing people like Ranić, he's a PE teacher. Like, I just don't understand why you would do that and not bring in someone who can carry the stature of Manchester United. So for me, I've just always expected you to have a big character, a big manager, someone who shows the similar success as what Manchester United deserve.
We need to get this clipped up. 100% facts. Do you know what? It's nice to actually hear that. I know you said I don't like commenting on other people's teams, but like Mords alluded to, I think the fact that you're looking from the outside, we're kind of stuck in our bubble. Pardon the pun, little bubble. But the fact that you can even see that, and come out with comments like that, it just kind of hits home, doesn't it? Yeah. And we know the truth as well, don't we, really? Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting, though. But based on Amorim, you obviously did speak about how you feel like we should be having a manager that can handle the size of Man United. But in terms of, tactically, I mean, we're obviously, everyone knows we play 3 at the back, 3-4-3, the whole system that United play. And it has been a bit of a struggle, but we have been struggling the past year in terms of football and performances. From a West Ham fan point of view, is that something that you feel like is important, the formation, the system? Because Amorim says all the time, it's not the formation, it's not the system, it's the players, it's the intensity, etc. Do you agree with that? Or do you feel like, no, the manager's way of setting up the team is actually one of the biggest parts of why we are struggling? No, 100%. I'm the way that I have businesses in life, and my management style is always the buck stops with me. It's you have to take responsibility, and I can't stand people that pass the buck and say, "Oh, it's this, it's that." If you've got players who haven't got that intensity level, it's your job to find that. That's what you get paid all this money to be the manager of the football club to do. You've got to find out how to bring that out of them. So I can't buy that. I always thought it would take a bit of time, though. We obviously was linked with Amorim, and the rumour was that the reason why we didn't appoint him was that he wanted to bring all of his backroom staff, and all of them were Portuguese, all of them speak Portuguese, and this, that. And I thought, I love the idea of Amorim as a manager. I think he's a great character. I think he's a brilliant football manager. But
how long does it take to adjust and for the culture to embed when you're just going to bring a completely different culture to the football club? So I always thought it would take a little bit of time. I do think he's a great manager. I think he's a brilliant character, and I hope it works out in the long run. So
I appreciate that opinion as well. But going back into West Ham, and let's talk a little bit about today's game. How do you think it's going to go? So, I mean, look, you guys obviously have a big loss in Paqueta not being available. You mentioned it before. Who is going to be the replacement in that part of the pitch? Who is going to be that creator for you guys to kind of get you those goals for today's game?
Yeah, I mean, we don't really have a replacement for him, and that's the problem. He is the talisman. He is the one who is creative and makes things happen for us, which is why it's such a big loss. It's a completely different style of football now. Souček's going to come in. He's going to try and box crash like he does. He'll just try and get his head on something or steam into the box late. Wilson, obviously, he's been brilliant at holding the ball up for us and getting other players involved. So he's going to be important tonight to try and get Bowen in. And I think Fernandes is probably going to be on the left-hand side. He's been very lively for us. He's that engine, 100% commitment. He's been getting back and nicking the ball and winning back possession. Fernandes is really impressing me at the moment. And then you've got Magassa and Potts who are going to sit in front of the defence. I think the game tonight's won and lost in midfield. I'm looking at your experience with Bruno and Casemiro, but then you've got the sort of lively play from Ahmad. It's all going to be about how do our youngsters, because Magassa and Potts are very raw at the moment. They're not very experienced. They're great players. They've got loads of potential, but they're not finished articles yet. So it's just how are they going to cope with the brains of Fernandes and Casemiro, and that's my worry.
I mean, we've got a youngster playing. I don't know if you've seen United's starting 11, but we've got Aidan Heaven obviously starting as one of our centre-backs. I'm not sure whether he's going to be the central centre-back or he might move things around, but it's likely he's going to be probably central centre-back. 18, 19 years old, hasn't really played much minutes this season. He's obviously just come to the club. Similar to you guys, he is being put in because of, players that can't make it, whether it's injuries or red cards, etc. Do you feel like that might be a place where Callum Wilson, Bowen are going to enjoy a bit of, being able to go at this less experienced player, considering obviously they're a lot more Premier League proven?
Yeah, Wilson, I watch him. We've not really had a proper out-and-out striker in forever. And Wilson at Bournemouth, he's so clever inside the box. I mean, if you're not 100% switched on, he'll find that half a yard of space and he'll punish you for it. So that young lad's going to have his hands full tonight, and I think Wilson probably will be looking at him thinking this is someone that I might be able to get some success out of. But this is what we're in it for, right? That he's going to be looking forward to the challenge, and it's just whether Wilson can make it happen. It's mad that I'm not sitting here talking about Bowen, because Bowen's the one who everyone always says is the main man for West Ham, obviously trying to get into the World Cup squad. But he's so out of form at the moment. He's not the man that I'm looking at as thinking he's going to be the danger man for us tonight. I think Wilson's definitely the one that you're going to have to watch out for. Okay, very interesting. I mean, Kev, have you got anything else that you want to say to
I just had a quick one. I know you mentioned Jarrod Bowen then. I was going to say he is the kind of main man, and I'm sure in the future he'll be linked with moves away. I was just going to say, are you glad that Danny Dyer's his
father-in-law?
His father-in-law, yeah.
No, that's right. He's it definitely helps.
He'll stay at West Ham for life, won't he?
Look, I think he wants to. But at the end of the day, careers are short-lived. And he's going to be looking at wanting to get on that plane at the moment. And unfortunately, with the form that West Ham in, that could be the reason why he doesn't go. There are two good players in front of me, obviously, in Saka and Madueke. But if West Ham are playing better and he's playing better, he's already in the squad. He's been featuring in Tuchel's plans so far. So it's his spot to lose. And as much as I'd love him to sort of carry on that career, become the legend, obviously scored the last minute goal in the final to get our trophy and so on. I'd love him to see it out, but it's getting to the point where you wouldn't blame him if he was to want to just go and see something else.
He won't be allowed to, will he? Danny Dyer will get in his ear and say.
But anyway, Frankie, appreciate your time. Do you want to plug, obviously, your channel and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a regular feature on Hammers Chat now. Gio and Gonzo are the main people over there, so they've featured on this channel before. So we're always talking all football, really. So if anyone wants to come and tune in, it's not just always banging on about West Ham and our doom and gloom. We're quite balanced with our opinions and talk all football over there. So it'd be good to see some Manchester United fans over there as well.
Hopefully you're talking doom and gloom this evening or tomorrow, whenever you film next.
Yeah, I mean, look, Frankie, appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on. And like I said, hopefully, or like Kev said anyway, hopefully we're having a positive chat and you're having a bit of a doom and gloom. But yeah, thank you for your time, Frankie.
Best of luck for the season, chaps. Cheers.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, Kev, look, it's always good to get another fan's opinion, because sometimes as United fans we have the red tinted glasses. We can't really see outside of what's going on. But I mean, like you said, I mean, he thinks that we need a big name, big brand manager that can handle the size of the club.
He told us, I sat there for a minute and I zoned out. That was like going to therapy for me. And it probably echoed exactly what a lot of us have said on fan forums, on Countdown to Kickoff, and it kind of hits home. I travelled back in time then. He was talking about 99 and winning the treble. Well, you won't remember that, but I'm sat here going, I'm zoning back to where I was on that glorious evening. And then he's saying, obviously he's grown up with that era as well, to say, when he was growing up at Manchester, and that's Man United were the main team, absolutely dominated the 90s, into the 2000s, and it is heartbreaking as a supporter to see how that club's gone. And I know since the takeover 2005, the Glazers, it just has spiralled out of control. And Frankie, wasn't it?
Frankie,
He quite rightly alluded to the management choices. He's just called Rangnick a PE teacher.
That's hilarious, Mr. Rangnick.
And I bet United fans have called him that before, but it's that funny because it's that obvious. Yet you've got a West Ham fan who's got no association to Manchester United at all, telling us 100% facts.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people that were listening to him will agree with what he said. We've gone through too many managers, bought too many players. Everything, the structure, everything's wrong. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Mic drop.
There you go. Mic drop from Kev. So a bit of update on the team news about De Ligt not being available. So the news is that Matheus De Ligt exclusion is described as a minor injury. He should be back in training as soon as this week.
I can deal with that.
That's some positive.
Yes.
A bit of positive to go into the game with. Hopefully he will be back for the game on Monday, because we are going to need him back eventually.
For the busy Christmas period, isn't it?
We've got 6 games this month.
So old football cliche, they do come thick and fast at this time of year, and you definitely need your squad. I know we haven't got European football, but even for us, man, it's just small steps, isn't it? One step at a time, man.
One step at a time. Now, look, we've also got a little quote from Roy Keane. You guys should not only tell you who Roy Keane is, you should know who Roy Keane is.
Yeah, I know who he is, yeah.
So Roy Keane says, some of the results have been hit and miss. They look more of a threat on set pieces, but there's still an element you don't know what you'll get with them. There's an opportunity for United to put a marker down today. I feel like a lot of people feel like game by game, it's like a Champions League final for us. That we have to win every game to kind of prove ourselves. Can we still prove that we can play good football for 90 minutes? And if it's not a set piece goal, are we going to score? I feel that's a lot of the points that people have made to me. But do you agree with that?
Up until the other evening, actually, we were with Arsenal, weren't we? Joint top for sort of set pieces.
Probably still, actually, Arsenal did score set pieces.
They did last night, didn't they? Yeah, I was going to say. So we were. We'll take that moral victory. We were joint top of the set piece league until we got knocked off. But it shows.
It is true.
It does show that they've definitely been working on it. But quite rightly, how many times under Ruben Amorim of Manchester United, and I'll say the word dominated 90 minutes of football.
In terms of possession or the game?
Everything. The whole performance from start to finish, where you've gone, that was brilliant. We've got 2-3-0, we've just blown them away. Even second half, if we've gone through the motions, we kept the ball, and the other team did not look like scoring. It is very rare.
It is rare.
You get basically one half of, well, it's sort of half of football FC, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Crystal Palace was a classic example. Whether Crystal Palace dropped off in that second half, that's nothing to do with us. We could have been 3 or 4-0 down against Palace in that first half. In the second half, we've come out, we've got the goals and we've got the win. But in isolation, the second half was much better than the first half. But why can it not be spread across a game? Yeah. And that's why I live in hope. Every single week I come to this studio, Old Trafford, wherever it is that, you know, tonight's the night. You know, it could be the night, but where we get, you know, you're walking away from that match and thinking, that's what it's all about. Yeah, but it used to be like that. That
does come through in-game decisions from the manager, in-game management. Can he control the game? Can he spot where we might be losing a bit of momentum, we're losing a bit of passion? Who can he bring on to change certain things? That does come down to the manager as well.
He's got the power to change things like that, but at the same time, I look back at that Everton game because it still haunts me. It's still raw, it's in there. And I think there is no way the tactics were that. The instructions that manager was giving that team and the way that they actually performed, well, they didn't even perform that evening, but the body language, everything on that pitch was just bang out of order, man. And I look at that. They all need to do better. Amorim didn't say, get out there, you know, let's treat this like soccer aid, let's just have a bit of crack. It was nothing like that.
100%. Now, look, Amorim
players have to take accountability. That's
facts, 100%. Definitely have to take accountability. But Amorim has been speaking to Sky Sports and he says on De Ligt, it's a small thing. I expect to have him in the next game. The rest of the guys are ready. But he also spoke about benching Lenny Yoro. And he says, as a manager, we need to think about everything. I spoke to Lenny, not about leaving him out, but about the message. He's so disappointed, but it is a tactical issue. It's a clear option and a tactical option. Today, we need to win no matter what. So, I mean, I'm going to put this out to you guys watching as well, and to Kev. He said it's a tactical issue. In my opinion, it's a bit of everything. One, I think he doesn't want to have two young players in that, you know, in the back three. You want to have a little bit more experience in Managerial, but as a tactical option, he's probably looking at Bowen, looking at Callum Wilson, thinking Managerial might be a bit stronger, be able to handle him a little bit more on the physicality side of it. That might be why, because they are obviously older, more experienced players. Is that a tactical option that you feel like he's probably thinking about?
I think it's a bit of both. I think when we went up to the board earlier and I said that if he's dropped, the headline is, if he's on the bench, the headline is going to be that he's dropped. I think he's been quite clever with what he said. If he's saying it's a tactical thing, it could be a bit of a smokescreen for the fact that he has been dropped and maybe has got that in mind, that he's not actually banging form. And I would have liked to have seen him start today, but the manager makes that decision. And whether he's just sending him a little message out there, but Aiden Heaven getting the opportunity as the main centre-back, like he said, if you'd have put Yoro in next to him, on that side then, could, from a tactical point of view, West Ham really gone down that side? Because the only proper experience you've got is Luke Shaw, who is going to be pulled onto that left-hand side, which is whereas more the middle, the right-hand side, you could be targeted. Whereas now, Heaven is is sort of protected by
both sides.
Yeah, both sides in a way.
And that does make
Mazraoui and Luke Shaw either side of him. So maybe he's thought, Yoro, he isn't in great form, and let's not beat around the bush. But at the same time, the younger players need protecting. If this is Amorim's way of dealing with it, and maybe he has put an arm around him and said, listen, you know, don't get down about it, and if we need you in this game, or again, we spoke about before, being in a position to bring a player on, maybe bring him in if we are winning the game.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. So, I mean, look, before I even go into score prediction and etc., all these kind of things, I did go downstairs to Old Trafford and ask some of the fans what are their score predictions and who do they think is going to score.
4-0. 4-0.
4-0, that's strong, I like that.
2-1 United.
2-0. I would say 3-1.
2-0 win.
It's United, right?
Yeah. 2-1 West. 2-1 Man Utd.
2-1 to Man United.
3-1 to Man United.
What about goal scorers?
Fernandes.
He's shaking his head.
Ahmed and I reckon Luke Shaw.
Fernandes. Mbeumo.
Ahmad, Bruno and Mbeumo.
Mbeumo and Cunha. Hopefully Cunha. And Mbeumo's he's got to assist or score.
Cunha hat-trick.
Ooh, Cunha hat-trick. He said Cunha hat-trick. What are your thoughts on that? Who do you think is going to score and what are your score predictions?
Lots of positivity. Do you know what the only thing is? When you get to a position of like Kev's kind of where I've been in time and seen things, It's about getting your fingers burnt, isn't it?
Yeah.
I remember before that Everton match, right? the score predictions were just, they were wild. I'm sure Goldbridge said 4-0.
Probably.
And at that time, you would have looked and, there was 4s, 3s, exactly what, the people that you just spoke to outside Old Trafford are saying. Everyone is confidence. We're talking 3s, 4s. Which sets me up brilliantly because my score prediction for this evening, because I had to do this early, you see, so I was probably a little bit giddy in that. Now that I've seen the teams and that, I'm like, I'm still confident. I've gone for United 3-0.
Why not, though?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? You know what I mean?
What I should have done here, and there is something in this, last week was the first time. And you know that I'm positive when it comes to score predictions for United. Yeah. I predicted United would lose 2-1 against Crystal Palace, and they won.
Yeah.
So see what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
Really, I should have said like 4-0 West Ham.
Yeah.
You know.
But we're keeping it positive. Let us know in the chat right now, what are your score predictions? Flood the chat with all of your score predictions, and let's see who actually gets it right. I predicted 3-1. Because we don't keep a clean sheet. I mentioned before, we're 18th in the league for clean sheets.
And it's possible that we could,
Yeah, but we do score goals.
Exactly. So and my prediction there is just totally reckless, isn't it? Because I'm like, why are we keeping a clean sheet? We do not keep clean sheets. But starts tonight here at Old Trafford.
100%. Look, I'm going to read some of the super chats that have come in, and then we're going to go into a little quick section in the show. Like I said before, you guys have sent in some of your Q&A questions, so I'm going to go through those questions just in a brief second. So super chats that have come in. First one says, let me just find it. Real talk, what if Mainoo has a celebrity attitude? I don't see that. I don't really see that. I feel like out of all the players, Mainoo kind of seems like the most kind of humble, quiet. Doesn't necessarily seem to do too much.
No, I've always said that about him. He grew up in, what was it, Cheadle's kind of Stockport, and anyone that, he went to mass every week. He a great family behind him, and that. I don't see that he's like, and he's certainly not even in a position to get above his station. I think he just. In fairness to the lad, he just wants to play football, and he knows it's a World Cup year as well, which makes it even more of a thing for him to try and get away and try and play football. He's not saying, I want to leave
the club, innit?
Yeah,
he wants to play for his boyhood club. He wants to play for his boyhood club. Super chat from Irish Ghost says, delighted to see Heaven get minutes, but Euro will be frustrated to be sitting on the bench. Yeah, I mean, that literally came up before. Amram said it, that Euro is disappointed, but I mean, as we mentioned on the tactic board, we want that though. We want Euro to kind of feel like he has something to prove and he wants to go out and impress, instead of thinking, oh, let me just sit back and just...
Well, let's see how he responds to it.
Yeah, let's see how he responds.
If anything, you should now use that as a bit of a kick up the arse, shall we say?
100%.
And if you are motivated enough now where you think, I'm getting my place back, because he might look and think, well, Aidan Evans getting he's got his opportunity this evening. If he takes it in the pecking order, where does that leave me? And really, through no fault of his own, Lenny Oro, we want to be really, really harsh and tell him home truths, like Frankie from Hammers TV was telling us before, then, he needs to up his game. Performances need to improve.
100%. Super chat from Jacob Fat, who says, why wouldn't he put Obi on the bench? SMH, shake my head. I don't know. I've not been watching Obi a lot in the academy, but it might just be, you might just have been watching the season and thought.
When we were really short, he was kind of called into the squad, wasn't it? And if we're being truly honest, it was only because Hoyland was that bad at that time. He come on, didn't he? I can't remember the game it was. I think he took a shot. Yeah, he took a shot and nearly hit the corner flag. But we were all like, and it was only because Hoyland had been that kind of, he'd been starved of service, but at the same time he wasn't great. And I think he did get an opportunity to get in and around the first team.
Which is what you want anyway.
They probably looked at his development and thought, let's just bring him back slightly.
Give him a season.
We brought in Sesko, haven't we? And he could be next in line.
Yeah, I don't mind it, to be fair. I think he's definitely a good young player, but don't forget that he is still a young player, so he has to still go through those levels of development.
It's like seeing Lacey on the bench, isn't it? A lot of people are probably thinking, well, why has he named him on the bench 3 or 4 times if he's not going to bring him on? What's the worst that could happen? At the same time, he's a young lad. Just travelling with that team and being in and around it is a big enough sort of experience for him. We already know that he's training with the first team, which is huge. just because he's not getting on the bench, you know, there could be an opportunity there this evening. God forbid if somebody gets injured or we're in a position where we can bring him on, then I'm sure Amorim, he'll make that call. It's
great experience for young players to just be, like you said, in it. Even I know it's at home today, but
traveling with the first team,
being on the bus, you know, being in the little dinners before or breakfast or whatever time it is before the game, and being in a changing room with the players and just understanding and seeing the mentality before the game, getting to ask questions to the players around him. It's great experience for him. So it's not all about him being on the bench and having to play. Sometimes it's just about learning from the people around you.
Exactly.
Super chat from Alec Miller says, if you could go back and have sign a quality midfielder over 3 seasons, but it means you could only sign one of Cunha or Mbeumo, who would you pick? I mean, I'll answer it first. I'd go with Mbeumo. And if I could sign a quality midfielder over the last 3 seasons, I mean, there's so many midfielders out there. If you're talking about like unrealistic, then there's crazy players that I would sign. But realistically, I remember we were in for Neves. He ended up going PSG. I think he's a top player. I think he would have been amazing for us.
I agree on Mbeumo. I think if you were choosing out of them two, I know that Cunha come through the door first, then it was Mbeumo, which I was like quite surprised because I only really thought we needed one of them because I was thinking, well, what's happening with Bruno? We obviously know what's happening there. We're shoehorning him in midfield. I'd say one over the last few years, and we were linked with him. He was ready to kind of go to Liverpool at a stage. Then he thought, nah, I'm not going here, man.
You talking about?
Caicedo.
Oh, Caicedo. I was going to say Gravenberch. I was going to say Gravenberch.
Oh, yeah.
I think Gravenberch as well. Obviously, now he plays for Liverpool. I don't really, you know.
Age profile for Caicedo, if we'd have been in that. And I remember at the time we did a transfer show, and I was like, if United are not in the conversation for this, I cannot get my head around it. You know, you've got the age profile there, and you mentioned earlier that all these top teams have, you know, an absolute specialist in that position, and the age profile is they could be there for the next nearly 10 years. You've sorted that problem out. Whereas us, like I said earlier, we're just papering over the cracks, aren't we?
I mean, let us know, and that's a great super chat to be fair. Let us know in the chat what midfielder would you have signed over the last 3 years that you would have hoped or could.
We should do super chat of the day. That's what we'll have to start doing.
Super chat of the day. Shout out to Alec Miller. Super chat of the day. But also moving on, Alan says, I'm scared if Haven is in the middle of the 3. Let's just give a bit of confidence to him. I feel like I'm positive. I, like I said before, the times that I've seen Aiden Heaven, I've not been worried or scared about him. So for me today, it's the same thing, and I think it's a big test. And sometimes when you've got the best mentality, you want the biggest test because then it can kind of prove yourself that you can go and do it. So,
well, for me to say that he reminds me, and I said slightly,
of Rio
Ferdinand. Anyone that watched Rio Ferdinand in his prime will know that Aiden Heaven should surely not really give you any worries at all. What I'm trying to say is he's very, very confident, sort of ability-wise, years ahead of his actual age. You know, he's switched on, tough tackling. He doesn't have to fly in though. From what I've seen of him, kind of reads the game really well, and it's a great trait to have, which is what Rio Ferdinand had.
100%. Couple more super chats. Super chat from United 77777 says, great guest that Frankie is. Come on United. Shout out Frankie from Hammers TV. Great guest. And lastly, Mazra Wow back says, I think Lemens scores a header at the last second.
I'm getting a fiver on that.
we'll see about that. But quickly before we even move on, a couple cross promos that we're going to do. So Friday, tomorrow, the World Cup draw will be live. Watch along on Nats Football from 5 p.m. So Mark will be doing his watch along on Nats Football at 5 p.m. for the World Cup draw, which is going to be super interesting. Everyone's going to be tuning in for that to see who's going to be in, you know, what group stage. So yeah, make sure you check it out for that. Make sure you're checking that out tomorrow on Nats Football. But also it's Bundesliga as well tomorrow. Mainz versus Borussia Mönchengladbach. And remember, this is a live game. It's not just a watch along. You're not just going to be watching Mark's head with a bunch of overlays. No, Mark's going to be watching the live games of the players on the grass kicking the football in the goal. So make sure you're checking that out tomorrow on That's Football. At 7:15 it will be live, and the game will be live at 7:30. So yeah, that's the news that's coming out. I said the cross promotion, but also Kev, your jumper. Let's not forget, the Christmas jumpers are available. The Christmas
There's
jumpers.
A promo picture for you.
There you go.
Have a bit of that.
Screenshot that.
Yeah.
Someone screenshot that and send it to us.
You can have it.
The Christmas
Good job
jumpers.
my jeans didn't rip them, wasn't it?
Yeah, luckily. Yeah. They are available, so make sure you are checking that out as well. If you want a Christmas jumper, the link will be in the description.
And do you know what? I've got to show you the back of it as well, because the back is actually the best bit of it.
100%. Oh,
Shit, my mic's gone.
But you can see the back of the... Yeah, you can see it. You can see it.
There we go.
The treble, the trophies. It says United, obviously a nice colourway. We love it. We love it. So anyway, look, quickly, before we go into our players to watch, there is a question that came through from our Q&A. Thank you guys for sending in your questions.
But the question is,
I think this is an interesting one. The question is, do you think Luke Shaw will play as a central centre-back with Aiden Heaven on the left? Because they are both two left-footed players. Ooh. Aiden Heaven does usually play on the left side.
Do you know what? That is a great shout, that.
It could be something that, you know, he's looking at Luke Shaw thinking if he is going to play someone in the middle to kind of control the whole defence.
He's the most experienced.
Most experienced. He is a physical player.
Just hit 300 games.
Hit 300 games. Is that something that you feel like Amorim could do?
That is a strong possibility. I never even thought of that, actually. That's a great question. That's why we're doing this Q&A. Yeah. I love that. Throwing ideas in like that. Yeah, I wouldn't put it past it. It's a strong possibility, that.
Yeah, I mean, great question. I'm going to super. Great question from you guys. But look, we're almost at the end of the show. Quickly, player to watch.
Player to watch. I had said Lenny Oro, so he's on the bench. Yeah. So I'll change it to. Do you know what? I'll say Cunha. Now that I know that he's obviously in the team, he's been injured, he's back in. I think he's got a lot to prove. He's all action, and I think he'll score this evening as well.
Sick.
Have a bit of that.
Cunha. So mine was Cunha as well, but I'm going to change it to probably Aiden Heaven. I mean, he is. You know, it's going to be a big game for him, and we all want him to do so well. So Aiden Heaven is my player to watch. But listen, guys, the show's.
Time has flown here, hasn't it?
I feel like I've even been rushing a little bit because the time.
I thought we'd done about half an hour.
It's gone so quickly, but thank you guys for locking in. Thank you guys for watching. There's about how many people in here? Almost 12,000 people in here. So thank you guys for watching and listening. Like I said, put in Mark's. In fact, put in Mark's chat. Get well soon, Beth. How about that?
Good one.
How about that? Put in Mark's chat. Get well soon, Beth. We will be live on the fans forum after the game. Me, Kev, Ricky, and Osman.
Osman's
so you know
back.
there's going to be a lot of debating in that show. It's going to be a great show. So make sure you stay tuned after the game. But like I said, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening, and we will see you on the fans forum.